Welcome to Workplace Psychology with Dr. Martha Greidick. I'm Dr. Martha Greidick. This podcast examines a wide variety of work-related issues through the lens of industrial and organizational psychology. And while many of the topics discussed here may be seen as intended for white-collar employees and their employers, in reality, the ideas presented here are applicable across organizations and industries. Additionally, many of the topics discussed here may be applicable outside of the workplace. I encourage you to examine what's presented here, apply what makes sense to you, and simply discard the rest. Resilience is an important topic of conversation in any part of life, but it is especially important when we talk about the workplace. Let's start by defining resilience, especially as it applies to work. Resilience, in its simplest terms, is the ability to cope and even to thrive and succeed when facing challenges or stress at work. In essence, it's a person's ability to buffer the negative effects of stress. When it comes to individuals who would be considered as being resilient at work, there are some key traits that can be identified time and again. First and foremost, they're adaptable, meaning they can adapt to changing circumstances, situations, and even surprises at work. They tend to have good problem-solving skills, and that is not a surprise when you think about adaptability. Sometimes solving skills right on the spot is exactly what you need. And of course, emotional intelligence, and specifically emotional regulation, is a key trait when it comes to someone who is resilient within the workplace environment. When it comes to facing challenges or stress or other surprises at work, being able to control one's emotions is key. When we consider building resilience, especially resilience within the workplace environment, there are two ways that we can look at it: from the individual's aspect, but also from the organizational aspect. Let's start with the individual. Every individual has the responsibility and the opportunity to work on increasing their resilience at work. Stressors, challenges, and problems are inevitable in nearly every work environment. It is in everyone's best interest to become as resilient to these changes as possible. A good practice for any individual is to develop a growth mindset. Not being stuck in a rut and not being stuck in your ways will go a long way in terms of building resilience at work. After all, chances are that your workplace is filled with changes, stressors, and challenges, at least some of the time. Being able to embrace those and process those in terms of growth and forward movement is a big deal. That's why any individual who embraces the growth mindset will be that much better off when facing stressors and challenges at work, things that require more resilience. It's also important to seek out professional and emotional support at work. While we may focus on the individual's efforts to improve and increase their resilience, one way of doing so is by partnering with those around you, whether that's your colleagues or whether that's management. Seeking out the right emotional and social support in your professional setting can make all the difference in the world when it comes to building up your resilience. This leads me to the next idea, which brings up the concept of trust and high-quality relationships. It is only within an environment that has a certain level of trust and the kinds of relationships that prove to be of high quality, that one can truly improve resilience at work. When trust is lacking and relationships are substandard, that's nothing more than additional stressors, making it more difficult to build resilience. Balance in one's life is another important consideration when we look at improving resilience at work. This includes your balance between work and the rest of your life, but it also includes the balance within the workplace environment, as well as the balance within the beyond work domain, your personal life domain. Having a balanced life helps you to focus on building resilience to things such as challenges and stressors and changes within the work environment and beyond. As I already mentioned, while the individual plays a role in building his or her resilience at work, the organization has a big and important part to play as well. The organization is absolutely responsible for building the kind of work environment and, by extension, work culture that allows and supports proper levels of resilience to stress and challenges at work. Being active in providing both professional and social support within the parameters of the organization is absolutely the employer's responsibility and, of course, opportunity. Proactivity is key when it comes to providing and building the kind of environment that will help to increase resilience for employees at work. Beyond encouraging a growth mindset for their employees, the employer can also provide specific and targeted training that will help employees to build up their resilience. Don't leave your employees to fend for themselves as they attempt to build up their resilience to stress and changes at work. As an employer, you have a tremendous responsibility and a fantastic opportunity to be part of that effort. As an employer, you have the opportunity and, of course, the responsibility to focus on resilience for individual employees, but you can also take it a step further and focus on building, supporting, and sustaining resilient teams. While all too often, an individual's ability to be resilient to stress and challenges at work may be seen as their personal trait, something that they're responsible for, or maybe even something that is written in stone and they were either born with it or they were not. But the reality is that building up resilience and maintaining it is absolutely something that can be done on purpose and intentionally. And as you've learned from today's episode, while employees have plenty of responsibilities and opportunities to do just that, the employer also has a big role to play. As this episode comes to an end, let's review what was discussed. Resilience at work is an important topic of conversation. Being resilient to stressors, changes, and challenges at work means being able to cope and even thrive and succeed in adverse situations. It's the ability to buffer the negative effects of such stressors at work. And while individuals have plenty of responsibility for building up their own resilience, employers have an equally important part to play. Employees can focus on seeking out the proper training that will help them to build and maintain resilience. Develop a growth mindset and make sure that you seek out and nurture the kind of social and professional relationships that support resilience at work. And don't forget to seek balance, whether that's work and personal life balance, balance within the work environment itself, or balance within your personal life. It all matters, and they all make a big difference to your ability to build and sustain resilience at work. And as I mentioned, employers have an equal opportunity and responsibility to build up resilient employees and resilient teams. Providing the kind of culture and environment that will foster resilience for their workforce is key. And while providing proper resilience training is important, so is creating and providing social and professional development opportunities. And I invite you to consider how resilient you are as an individual employee, regardless of your position within the organization. How well are you able to cope with changes, challenges, and stressors at work? And beyond simply surviving and being able to buffer the negative effects of such things, are you able to actually thrive and succeed in an environment that will sometimes come with plenty of challenges? Today's episode should give you some ideas of what you can do to improve your own resilience and maintain what you already have. And as an employer, your responsibility is equally important. So take a look at your workforce, both individually and as a collective. How resilient are your employees, and what are you doing to promote and support their resilience? As an employer, something else to consider may be whether or not you may be doing things or creating the kind of environment that is detrimental to the resilience of your employees. If you experience this podcast in an audio-only version, I encourage you to check out the video version of it on my YouTube channel. That is Stress Free with Dr. G, and the link for that is in the description below. While there, check out some of the other videos which focus on a comprehensive approach to stress management. So check out Stress Free with Dr. G on YouTube. Thank you for joining me today. Please subscribe to this podcast. I look forward to seeing you here again next time. Until then, I wish you joy and well-being.